Relationship red flag. Your partner is addicted to social media. Or you are too. This one I feel like goes without saying, but we need to talk about it. One of the great tricks that social media plays on us is it gives us this stream of data that goes into our predominant sense, which is eyeballs. And it presents all this information with meaning. And the meaning that it's trying to present there is you are important. Now, of course, that's not 100% of the time, but that is a predominant aspect of why social media becomes so addictive. There's flashing colors. There's a whole bunch of stuff to stimulate different regions of the brain in very efficient ways. But the thing that I see that becomes so difficult, damaging, destructive, addictive, and I suffered from this for a while. It was quite some time ago, early days, 2013, 2014, before I kind of just stepped away, is that I suffered from this myself back in like 2012 to 2014, before I stepped away. And the thing that social media was doing, and still does today even more so, is it tricks the mind into thinking, believing that I'm getting a social connection. We've got 100 million years of humans being together in small tribes and within eyesight, or being able to touch, or being able to read micro expressions, or call them over to say, I'm working on this problem, or we're cooking this food together, and you can come together in tribal community and interact. And there's this whole host of experiences that we go through when we're interacting with other people in our tribe that are in close proximity. And if we're actually interacting with someone, like having a conversation or trying to work through a problem, there's way, way, way more than just language. And the feeling of being connected with someone is way more than just, hey, thumbs up. It's way more than just a little bit of eye contact and be like, we got something, right? There's a lot more going on. And social media has this way of tricking that part of our brain into thinking that this person on the other side of this little screen, right? It's a little tiny, 4x6 screen. And somehow our brain believes that this two-dimensional flat image on a piece of glass is somehow fulfilling my fundamental needs for social connection. And that is very, very diabolical. Because all the other aspects of the brain and the body and the nervous system and the attachment system specifically are still have 100 million years of evolution saying, I need, to be connected is way more than this. So we see these people that get into that belief spiral, and then they are constantly monitoring it. They're either constantly monitoring. There's kind of two paths here. There's the path of constantly monitoring because they're so hungry for a connection and validation. And then there's this other path, which is, I don't know how to sit still, and I need a constant stream of stimulating images to feel calm and regulated, to distract myself from the misery of my life or the boredom that I'm facing in this moment. So there's kind of two paths, and some people get the double whammy and they get both of them. So let's talk about the validation one first and why this is a red flag, and how in many cases when we connect with someone romantically that has this addiction, it almost always reflects back on us and reveals that we struggle with the same addiction. That just seems to be the way it works. So let's talk about that. I'm with some person. We are considering a relationship, or we're in a relationship or whatever. And then we plan a trip. We get up in the morning. It's just like, what are we going to do today? And it's like, wow, I heard about this great restaurant sitting up near a waterfall or rice fields or looking out over a canyon or something. Let's go there for lunch. So you go through the process of travel, and you spend 30 minutes or an hour getting there, and then you just walk in, and it's just like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. Whoop, phones. I need to take a picture of this. I need to capture this. Or extra challenging is when the person says, no, 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 like you need to videotape me as I walk into this beautiful restaurant. How many times have we seen that video on social media before? So you engage. I've done this. And you turn on the video, and then you watch this person who was just 5 minutes ago just sitting on the back of a scooter, in the back of a car, just being a normal person. And suddenly they're this flowing, overacting fashion model, like walking in and glancing this way and glancing that way and stroking the back of a chair and whatever else. And it's like they are portraying an image. They're taking on a persona of like, I am this royal person, and I'm going through this royal experience, and how amazing is my life, right? Where did they learn how to do that? Social media. They saw someone else portray a false image of themselves as royalty in a royal place, doing a royal thing. And they're like, boy, that feels amazing. Like, I want to have an experience like that. They look like they're royalty. They look like they're better than all the rest of us. I want to be like that. And so their brain tracks kind of the movements, the actions, the flavor of the video, everything else. And then when they get an opportunity, they create the same thing. They act out. They take on the persona of this royal person doing this royal thing without a care for the world, and like, oh my goodness, this is such a glorious environment, blah blah blah. It's fake. And then I'll sit with this person after this content has been created, and then you can see this kind of happy joy that arises inside them. There's like, I now have a video of me being royal. And then you're next to this beautiful waterfall or rice terrace or mountain or a canyon or sunrise or whatever. And what do? They spend the next 45 minutes staring at the screen, applying filters, moving stuff around, at finding the right music to add, and getting it posted. And begins to feel like this whole exercise that we just engaged in of like, let's find something to do today because staying at home is boring. Oh yeah, let's go to this nice restaurant. Turns out the restaurant, nobody gives a shit. Or at least that person doesn't. This restaurant, this waterfall, this glorious vista or day club or nightclub, whatever it is, they don't actually care about that. They just care about getting the content that makes them look special. Is it time for a personal story? About 3 years ago, a friend of mine asks me to accompany her on a travel trip. She knew that I traveled a lot, and she was going to go to this place that she's been wanting to go for a long time, but she didn't want to go by herself. I was in a state that I could actually do that. And so I said, sure, let's go. Where are we going? And she's like, Bali. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. Like, I had to like look it up. Actually, I didn't even look it up. I just was just like, sure, fine, wherever. And because in my head I had a different picture. In my head I had the Maldives, which was just a funny story. But we get here, and if you don't know, Bali is this like mecca for young Instagramming world travelers and influencers and everything else. And so I'm with this person, and we travel around to all these like touristy places in Bali, and that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm following this person around with the phone, taking the photos, posing in front of the sunsets, all that kind of stuff. And there was this particular moment where there was this amazing, like literally just like stunning sunset over this ocean. Temperature's perfect. The temperature of the water is amazing. I come from where the water's cold, so being able to stand in warm water is amazing. And there's glorious sunset, and I'm sitting there being like, oh, this is just a little slice of heaven, and I want to sit here and enjoy this. And then this friend comes along and she's like, no, take a picture of me. I'm like, okay. So we take the picture, and it's like, no, again and again and again, and realize that what she's going for, she wanted to get one of those pictures where you're kicking the foot up and the water sprinkles through the air in the sunset. And I'm just like, okay, like, but the 10 minutes or so we've spent trying to get the exact photo that you wanted is really kind of taking me out of the moment. And I'm not, I'm still have people pleaser bits running inside my blood sometimes. And after that, I was just like, I should probably have a better boundary around that. But the thing that struck me, and I'll never forget this, is that as this is going on and we're just reaching the point where we got the shot that she wanted, I kind of like stepped back a little bit, and then I suddenly realized that there was this string, like literally like this line of carbon copies. A girl out in the water, kicking her foot up, making a little sprinkle, and either her girlfriend or boyfriend or whoever sitting there with a camera trying to capture it. And there must have been 30 of them going this way. And I'm like, wait, this way too? And it just went on and on and on and on. And I'm just like, oh my God, like what the hell is happening? That's bizarre. But what happened next was like profound sadness. Because what happened next was as soon as all these people got their shot, they just packed it up, including my friend. They're just like, we're done, got it. And they just bailed. And they went back to the restaurant or club or where the hell we were. And the sunset's still going on, right? And I'm like, okay, I'll catch you later. And then finally, I got to sit there waiting in the water, watching the reflection, being hit by these gentle waves as they come and crash around me, and this amazing temperature and blowing wind. And I mean, the little slice of heaven that I was enjoying so much. It's like, I got to go back and enjoy the little slice of heaven, which I was very thankful for. But all these people, it's like they got their shot and then they're like, we're done here. And I realized none of this is about the experience. For like, just in that moment, it must have been 60 people. And that happens every single day. And that was like right at the end of COVID time. So tourism was down. These days, I'm sure it's 10 times that. This, my friends, is a red flag. Why is it a red flag? It's a red flag because this person you're with is showing you where their values are. Now, we will see situations where I have been corrupted by the same thought virus, the same addiction, the same constant craving for some kind of photographic evidence that I'm actually cute or attractive or okay or, royal, that I've got the same craving inside me, and then you do too. And it's like, well, great, let's just work together and we're going to bumble through life, like constantly making content for one another and being like, wow, aren't we amazing? But I just don't see how that has a happy ending. Because the value there that's being demonstrated is I care more about the image than the experience. And if I care more about the image than the experience, then your image matters. And if you do anything that's off brand, that's outside the image of what I am desiring, we're going to have conflict. Okay, and then people say, well, then don't do that. I'm like, really? Sometimes people get sick. Sometimes people have an accident. Sometimes they change their mind. Sometimes things happen that necessitate that you can't maintain that image anymore. And I kid you not, I have seen this play out in so many relationships over the years, even before I got into this work, that it's like they are happy and things are going great as long as you maintained a particular type of image in your life and who you are and how you behave and the kind of car you drive. As long as you look good, I want you next to me, because you having you next to me, then I gotta like look out in the world and say, hey, everybody, look at this awesome thing that I got next to me. People that great, a person that great is choosing me. That means I'm awesome too. All of this is about maintaining social status. Duh. And that's not a real relationship. That's a transaction. There's more edgy words we could say for that that begin with P. That's a transaction. And transactions are not conducive to a healthy relationship. And you know what else they're not conducive for? Raising children. Because a person that operates their life in a transactional way will have a transactional relationship with their children. And that child will learn, if I can't provide the service that you demand, I will get punishment, I will get shame, and I will not be lovable. I will not be good enough. And even if a parent studies all the books and does the work and say, okay, I want my child to have the best life or whatever, I'm going to do everything I can to support them and nurture them in the 5 pillars of attachment and everything else. They can do all that, but if their relationship with others, especially their primary romantic partner, is highly transactional, the child will absorb that, because children absorb what they're around passively. And that child will learn that appropriate ways to interact in a situation like this is to have transactional expectations about their performance for my life. So, like, let's look at the state of modern dating. There's a lot of really smart people out there, a lot of people out there that I just adore and love, and I think their message is great. But for every one of those, I feel like I see 5 to 10 others that are basically saying, no, you have a right to better. You have a right to better. You have a right to demand that he be divinely masculine and show up in a strong, confident leader way, and that he be, 6 figures, 6 pack, 6 feet tall, right? Like blah, 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 blah. Like lists of line items, like you're shopping on Amazon and being like, yes, 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 yes. And the product review is positive. I buy that one. And I have every right to expect that he perform for me so that I can feel good. Transactional. So what I'm talking about here is that social media is the sign. It is like the canary in the coal mine. The way a person interacts with social media in a constant craving to make bigger, better, badder content that's more provocative and gets more likes and la 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 and image oriented everything. That is the canary in the coal mine that's showing you that they have a deep-seated insecurity about themselves, and that their primary adaptive strategy for dealing with that insecurity is not face it, deal with it, process the emotions, anything like that. They have chosen, their strategy has nothing to do with the healthy stuff. The strategy they're choosing is, how can I find a quick fix to make the bad emotions go away and the good emotions go up? How can I find a quick fix that will make the yummy feelings peak out and the scary, insecure feelings go down? How can I suppress the negative and just get a constant stream of good stuff? And this is just the same thing. This is the same thing that drugs do. It is the same dynamic. It is, I am hungering, craving, and adapting my life around a short term pleasure and not actually dealing with anything that I need to do in order for this problem to go away permanently. So it's like, okay, there's a lot of theory here. Let's look at the evidence. Let's test it. Let's look. Now, this is difficult to do, but it's like, because I work in this space and I see so many people with relationship problems, I see it all the time. But I challenge you to just look around your groups of friends or people you know, or research online and find people that are constantly maintaining their social media profile, constantly posting new content. It's not part of their business. It's not part of their branding. It's just something they do for their personal desire. And then look at the way that they show up in relationships. Some people will be able to compartmentalize enough that they can separate those things out and they can kind of see their social media as a brand and a history of their life that they're kind of maintaining separately. And then their relationship is something else and they're able to approach that in a different kind of energy. Some people can do that. Most can't. And the way you can see that, the indicator for that is that, can they put social media down? Can they take this phone thing that is the source of their addiction? Can they put it down, put it away, and just leave home without it? If they can do that, green flags. If they try to do that and the whole trip is fraught with distraction, insecurity, agitated emotions, disappointment, sadness, anger, whatever, like if there's big emotional swings, when you go to that restaurant on the mountainside and they don't have a camera to capture it, they don't have anything they can doom scroll on, when they're waiting for their food, that's a red flag. That means the phone is being used as a short-term drug fix to suppress difficult emotions. And they're carrying the phone with them constantly, as basically, it's almost like, imagine them carrying around, I don't know, yeah. Imagine them carrying around like a bag of heroin and just they push a little button and then zoop and they get a little shot inside the bloodstream and they're like, oh yeah, I'm chilled out now, I'm at peace. And then it's like, okay, 4 or 5 minutes goes by, 10 minutes goes by, an hour goes by, and there's like, oh no, like I don't like this, that I'm getting agitated. And they're just like, oh, just push the button. Push the button, zoop, they get another shot, and they're just like, oh yeah, I'm chilled out again. We would look at a person in that situation and be like, something is horribly wrong here. We would say that person has an addiction, they have an unhealthy lifestyle, like they've made themselves a slave to this substance, and like, no way would you date someone carrying around a bag of drugs and hitting the button every time they get a little bit agitated. Probably not. Yet we will consent to that dynamic with something that is socially acceptable, which is a phone addiction, a social media addiction. It's the same dynamic in the brain that's driving both of these. It's just one of them has become socially acceptable. So that's the path on the social media validation side. But somewhere in there, I switched over to the other one too, which is social media as a distraction. Right? So I've kind of covered both paths there, and because they intermingle a lot. But I guess to give a little TLDR, been talking for a long time. You want a quick answers for this. This is what you do. You're dating somebody new, or maybe you've been dating them for a long time and you have concerns about this dynamic. Ask them, can we go on this trip with no cell phones? And you need to be able to do the same thing. Can you go out and have a glorious day together with no cell phones, no connection to the outside world, just being present, observing things, eating delicious food, seeing a beautiful sunset, and there's no agitation. There's no worry, concern, preoccupation about posting this, posting that, not having a camera, not being connected. Oh, what's going on? Blah, 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 whatever. See, this world has become a little bit twisted in the sense that that's considered odd. It's this, there's this strange thing happening that, like, putting the phone down and being completely offline. And then we've got people maybe reaching out to us throughout the day and be like, why are you not responding to my messages? Like, what's going on? Why aren't you here? Like, we get so addicted to this idea of people need to be constantly available for us and we need to be constantly available for others. It's just like we spent 100 million years where that was not the case. Humanity, I'm talking. Like the majority of our existence on this planet has been like, I only have access to you if we're in, like, 2 or 3 meters away from each other. As soon as you get further away, then it's just like you're in some other story. And maybe I'll see you later. And I might have to, like, write some notes or do a cave painting or whatever, so that if you ever come back, we can have an interaction. But people now are in this place of, like, constant expectation that another person will be immediately accessible. That's a red flag all on its own. And then when you dig into that, you say, why is there so much energy behind this? Because when you do show up and you are available again, they're going to come with, like, where were you? And condemnation and criticism and shaming and how dare you do this? And it's just like, what are you talking about? I was just living my life. We dig into that and we find out they have anxiety and difficult emotions that arise inside them if they don't have constant access to this other person. And then you look at that and you're just like, wait a second, this is functioning the same way. Like, I'm maybe addicted to social media, and this is the way I keep my difficult emotions suppressed. But here's my mom, and my mom has difficult, anxious, uncomfortable emotions, and she's using phone calls with every family member, including myself, as her way of keeping the bad emotions at bay. So she's using us like a drug. I'm using social media like a drug, and she's using us like a drug. It's like, oh my God, we're all effing addicts. Yeah. True story, bro. That's one of the reasons I'm here doing this, because, like, I was wrapped up in all those. Oh God, my God. Yeah, it was like I had the social media addiction. Oddly enough, I've never had a drug addiction. I don't know how that, I don't know how I got lucky in that way, but I got all the rest of them. I had the social media addiction. I had the video game addiction. I had the, like, calling people and venting my problems addiction. I had the athletic, go to the gym, take the photos in the mirror and reshape my body addiction. I had the, like, oh, I'm in this beautiful place and look at this great adventure I'm on. I was OG with that one. I was back in the days of film cameras where you only had 36 photos. And then it was just like, and I would legitimately go on these trips with, a bag of film, and I'd meticulously plan out all these shots. And in my brain, every time was this thought spinning: who am I going to share this with? And how much social credit am I going to get for it? I didn't realize it. It wasn't quite that clear, but it's definitely this emotional compulsion inside. It was like, I take this photo now to show people that I'm in this awesome place with this awesome view, and look how neat that is. And it was like very little to do with the actual place that I was. It was, how much is this going to get me attention and validation and credit when I finally get home and I share my friends? How much will this impress them? So I've literally taken all these photos with a pure intention of like using them to impress people so that they'll believe that I'm cool, so that I can convince them that I'm special, that I'm worthy of attention and friendship and love and all that kind of stuff. I'm performing. And I did that for years. And now I come to this place that's like this mecca of literally hundreds of thousands, millions probably, of young people around the world coming to Bali to perform. Coming to Bali to perform. Because they so desperately want attention. They so desperately want approval. Yeah. It's not 100% of them, obviously. Like, there's a whole gamut of people out there, but like the frequency that this is the driving force is stunning. So, getting into a relationship with someone that's got this dynamic is going to be rough because you've got a fundamental value misalignment. Like, if I'm here to be in relationship with you and you're prioritizing appearance and validation, especially from strangers, and that becomes your motivating top priority, there's not going to be much space for this relationship, especially when this relationship inevitably hits difficult times. We talk about people, swapping through relationships quickly and, jumping to the next one and not taking things seriously. This is one of the reasons why. Is because they're not even valuing the relationship. The relationship is a transaction. I'm here to get something, get image or focus or attention or validation or whatever. And because I'm out there, my attention is focused out there on in the social media land to be like, I got to maintain my image and my brand. And this is like the moment that this relationship hits a rocky spot, or we have any kind of difficulty or misalignment in values or sickness or cancer or any of that stuff, then it's like, oh, this is difficult and it's not serving my purpose. And you realize that relationship was never even about you. That relationship was never even about connection. That relationship was about consuming your product. And as we would expect, being consumed like that is one of the 3 traits of trauma. And so it becomes oftentimes a very difficult emotional experience because it is touching all traumatic experiences we have stored inside us. That's a topic for another video. Yeah, it's manageable. I mean, it's possible. This isn't like, social media addiction isn't the end. Non-negotiable, never date this person ever. It is a red flag. It is something to be watchful for. And when you see a red flag, it's not end the relationship. A red flag is I need to stop for a moment and reevaluate my values and see if this challenge that's in front of me that has lots of data and evidence to support it is in line with the direction that I'm going and the kind of future that I want to have for my life, my relationship, and my children. That's what this is about. And there's so many people out there with a socially sanctioned social media addiction that I can understand that this might be triggering or difficult for people to hear. But it's like, sorry, we got humanity, us all together. We have hundreds of thousands, millions of years developing in a particular way, and our brain operates in a specific, predictable way. And the health of children have certain very specific requirements for their emotional well-being so they can grow into functioning adults. And social media is this new hobby that's just appeared in the last 20 or 30 years, and we are in the middle of a great experiment, and the data doesn't look good. This experiment is failing. It's failing our children, which means it's failing the next generation, which means it's failing the future of humanity. Jonathan Haidt's book is called The Anxious Generation, and it's like, that's a fantastic name because that's exactly what's going on. We are creating entire generations all around Earth. We're creating entire generations of children that are chronically wounded from an attachment perspective. And what do we give them? Drugs in the form of social distraction, social attention, validation addiction. We're not giving them the things they need in order to fulfill and grow into to resolve the problem and move forward in life. We just give them another distraction. And good luck. Like, we got all the data that tells us how this is going to play out. And it's not pretty. So if you want a better future for your children, for all children, then take a look at this stuff. It's serious. Intense topics, pretty heavy. I hope this has been helpful. I know it's a big thing and it can hit a lot of people very personally, but I really do truly hope that this kind of information and this perspective can help you shift in ways that you desire to shift. And it can help you lead you towards a greater degree of freedom and agency over your life and your future. Peace.